This dramatic coastline is a headland on the east coast of Spain. It's a stunningly beautiful place to simply marvel at the grandeur of nature, a place to get some inspiration, recharge your batteries. But what amazes me is that I didn't even know this place existed until a few weeks ago. I've lived in Spain for 13 years and this headland has never been more than an hour away. But back then, 13 years ago, my wife and I were much more focused on establishing ourselves here in a new country, building a new life. We didn't have a lot of time to do the tourist things, which, looking back, was a shame because life carries on. We soon got into a new routine of school runs and day-to-day work. So, 13 years later, things are very different. Standing here on the headland with the ocean below, I've realised I've learned so much in that time. I've come such a long way. Two days before, I found myself following a sign to a mirador, a viewpoint. I'd driven past that sign to Cap de la Nau 1,000 times. And that day I thought, why not? I've got a free hour, I've got my camera, let's go take a look. And when I arrived, I was disappointed. A thick sea mist had rolled in. I could hardly see a thing, but I got my camera out, I grabbed my thermos mug and I waited for the mist to clear. And it didn't. I waited and waited. I did manage to catch a few glimpses of rocks and sea below, and every now and again the wind would blow a gap in the mist and I could see a little more. The sun was hot on my head, but the wind was blowing this cold mist around me. It was a strange experience, and I left that day not really knowing what I was missing. I could imagine it was stunning in clear weather, but the reality, when I came back again 2 days later, was even better than I imagined. I couldn't believe how I'd overlooked this place for so long. Standing in that same place on a clear Friday morning in May, I was really blown away by the sheer dramatic beauty of this place. So those couple of days, they taught me some things, got me thinking about clarity and how important it is, if we are to live bigger, truer lives, that we get better clarity, that we get a clearer perspective. Because clarity, I've discovered, is priceless. This year I turned 50 and I'm only just beginning to understand that the only way to live life is from the heart, from the deepest places of our soul. But so very often we go through life overlooking the obvious or simply ignoring things because it's obscured by this mist of our own creation. It's a rare day when we really feel like we know who we are and where we're headed. Most days we seem to live on automatic. We just kind of fumble our way forward, or at best we stick to this well-worn track. I thought I knew this area of Spain pretty well, but it's now clear to me that there's an awful lot that I have yet to discover. And that's a good thing, but it also means I've been much too content to stick to what I know. And that's not so good. The thing is, we get so familiar with our lives, we don't even consider that we can live a different way. And that's really what clarity is. To me, it's seeing what's already there in another light, in a better light. It's taken me a long time to change from someone who was just getting on with life to someone who is actively involved in the process of designing a life. There's a huge difference, but it's all been through a series of small changes and from developing a clearer picture of my life and where I wanted it to go. Essentially, I've learned, and I'm still learning, to listen to that song inside me. That's the best way I can describe it. It's as if in the background of my life there's always been a song playing that I've mostly ignored. And that song speaks to me of adventure, far off places, and the beauty and grandeur of creation. And it's an invitation to taste life in a richer, fuller way. I could have that day ignored the road sign once again and continued on my way. But something, God, the universe, an angel, something was nudging me to take a detour, inviting me to change direction. That day I caught a glimpse of something bigger, and I decided to pursue it by coming back, not letting it fade into the mist of memories. My dream, my desire is to live life more fully, more in tune with that song inside me, and to be continually moving forward on that journey of life. I've often found, though, that by choosing to listen to that inner voice prompting me, I'm stepping into unfamiliar territory, and that can be uncomfortable. But the reality is that is where the life is. Getting out of the comfort zone. So we all need a little clarity to see things that are already there, but from a different perspective. Then we can take a chance on life. Start believing that it can be bigger, that it can be better. We can't manufacture clarity. In my experience, clarity comes when you're open to receiving it. You might say, God is waiting for you to be ready. Because there has to be a kind of a shift in our thinking. So we gain clarity by taking time to slow down and listen to what's going on inside us, choosing to listen to a different narrative about what's already going on in our lives, and taking a chance on following through by taking some steps in a new direction, because it's on that journey that we discover who we are. Life is not about finishing the fastest or who has the most money at the end. It's not about winning some kind of race. It's how we walk the path and who we share it with, making memories on the way. To gain clarity, we need a shift in our thinking. So here's some questions to ask yourself that can help bring some clarity into your life. So remember, be honest. This is only for you. Number 1, if you could suddenly step into the life of your dreams, what would it look like? Number 2, what hobby or interest or cause is the great love of your life, and what are you doing about it? Number 3, what small changes can you make today to embrace those future dreams? I don't believe in waiting around for life to somehow get better on its own. I've spent too many years hoping and waiting. So I'd like to leave you with one last thought. One of the best moments of clarity I ever had was at the age of 42, when I suddenly had a vision of what life would be like 5 years down the road if I didn't start taking some action. It would be more of the same, more disappointment, more hoping, more waiting. If you're content to drift through life and let things happen to you, fine. But if you feel deep down that there's more to life, more to you, I want to encourage you to take a moment to decide you are worth it. Your future is worth it, and you're going to find out just what it is you were made for. Thanks for spending some time with me on the journey today.